Hello, welcome to the very first episode of NYC Actors Talk, Robin Williams, a series where we go through the best performances of Robin Williams and search for his absolute best role. And we're also going through all these movies because we love Robin Williams, we love the guy, and we love everything that he's done for us, making us laugh, making us cry. We love Robin Williams just for being Robin Williams. So sit back, relax, and enjoy our very first episode with Mrs. Doubtfire. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to NYC Actors Talk Film. I'm Nick.
I'm Hunter.
And we have a very, very special guest today. Mrs. Doubtfire?
Oh, my puppets, my little dearies listening in with your little headphones and your microphones, dearies. Oh, she's a podcast now, dearie. I was a musical on Broadway, but it's not going to happen anymore, but hopefully soon, dearies.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, you had a show.
Oh,
And
yes, my dear Nicholas. We were going to have a show on the big, bright Broadway, but it's probably not going to come out until a little bit later, but...
yeah, I'm sorry to hear that, Mrs. Doubtfire. I know
Oh,
that,
it's
that it was a
all
very
it's
highly
okay.
anticipated show.
It's okay, because when I come back onto the Broadway stage, I'm going to say I'm a hippo granny who can hip-hop, bebop, dance till you drop, and yo-yo, awa, awa, make a wicked kappa, awa, awa, coco. I just sounded like Pudgy Walk on TikTok, dearies. Pudgy Walk, the little dog that say, awa, awa. Mrs. Doubtfire did that first, dear.
Very profound, Mrs.
Very.
Doubtfire.
Oh,
Thank you.
dearies. Oh,
Thank you for
thank
coming
very
on.
much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's been an absolute pleasure and delight, dearies.
Good morning, get now. Hey.
No matter what anybody says, you'll always be a prince to me.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is NYC Actors Talk Film, talking film, TV, and video games from the actor's point of view. We have a very special guest today, Bailey Wilkinson.
Hello. Feels good to be here, guys.
This is so exciting. I love you, bro, and I've always wanted you to be on the show, bro.
Oh,
So
stop it.
so here you are.
Yeah, it feels really good to be on the show. I've been listening to you two for a while, and you've been putting out great work, and I'm honored to be a part of the show tonight.
Awesome.
Shit. Yeah. I love that. Dude. Okay. So we are talking about Mrs. Doubtfire. Bailey, before we started recording, you said that this is your all-time favorite movie.
Hunter,
Walk me through how that comes to be.
so when I was a wee little dearie, if you will, as Mrs. Doubtfire, or no, sorry, as you've a Virginia Doubtfire, dear, would say, I can't stop. You can even hear it in my voice when
Yeah,
I
Bailey, you're on a
say-
roll. You're on a roll.
When I say the words Mrs. Doubtfire, like the serotonin levels in my body boost.
You can't say Mrs. Doubtfire without doing the voice.
No.
It's like those TikTok trends where someone says, "Tell me that you're blank." It's like, "Tell me that you love Mrs. Doubtfire without telling me that you love Mrs. Doubtfire," and it's just me doing the voices, dressed up as her. But when I was a little kid, there was one day when my parents said, "All right, let's watch Mrs. Doubtfire." They had watched it before. My older sister did before I didn't. And I remember just after it was done, my jaw was on the ground. I just couldn't believe what I just watched. And it's pure perfection. And like Nick was saying before, how this, like, we're focusing on Robin Williams's performances. I have always seen him do comedic stuff. And Mrs. Doubtfire, he really shows off an incredible range of emotions in this movie. You're laughing with him, like literally like you're crying, like not only tears of joy, like because of the laughter, but it gets pretty serious too. And I really like that, how it's not solely focused on the comedy. Like there are very dark tones, but in a good way, like in a realistic way, where it's not too over dramatic because it's a film and like people think, oh, just because it's a film it has to be edgy. It, like, the writing is good, and again, it always starts with the writing, I say. And
yeah, it's so crazy because like with for a movie with such a wacky premise, it starts out like really dark.
yeah,
Yeah.
with the divorce, and again Sally Field too, which I forgot she was even in the movie. Sally Field, oh my god, another
As Mr. Doubtfire.
yes, she is Mr. Doubtfire. Spoiler alert. The movie's what, 30 years? I think no, it came out in 92,
93, I think.
I want to say 93. Yeah.
If you haven't seen it by this point, first of all, what's wrong with you?
Also, why are you listening to this then?
Yeah.
Spoiler alerts
Literally leave.
for the
You need to
plot.
go watch the movie.
And for the-
Spoilers, dearies.
Spoilers, deities.
Yeah, it is my favorite James Bond movie for sure.
Oh, absolutely.
That's true. Pierce Brosnan.
Yeah.
And again, he is just again another great actor. The character is just this like suave guy. I mean, he's basically James Bond.
He's a
in the
snack.
movie.
He's a snack.
He's the full course meal.
Yeah, that's true. He's not a snack. He's a
No,
full.
He's got the
course
appetizing
meal.
eyes. He's got the sushi roll abs. You know what I'm talking about? Like, it's nice and
Oh, what does Mrs.
cut.
Doubtfire say? Like, oh, liposuction.
Oh no, she's got a power tool in her bedside drawer, dear. I'm surprised she hasn't cracked her teeth.
Yeah.
Yeah, but she also says something like in the swimming pool, like,
Oh, yeah,
you
yeah.
see, that's the result of liposuction.
Yeah, that's a result of liposuction, dear.
And then she throws the fruit at him. She's like,
Oh God, I'm so sorry, dear. I think it was a drive-by fruiting. Oh dear.
Drive-by fruiting.
Yeah, there's so many good little lines. So obviously, Bailey, you love it. It's one of your faves.
Yes.
Hunter, what are your thoughts on Mrs. Doubtfire, and also your thoughts on, because this is our Robin Williams miniseries, how do you feel about like his performance and how it ranks with some of his others? Like, do you feel it's one of his best? Do you feel like it really is like deserving of the hype, and like where would you maybe put it? So yeah, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah. I remember watching this movie as a little kid, and it always like struck a chord with me because like my parents were going through like rough times and they ultimately divorced and stuff like that. And it made me feel like 10 times better, especially the message at the end. Like, it doesn't kind of matter what your family looks like type deal. And I was like, fuck, when I was watching that just last night, I was like, this really is a great freaking movie. And Robin Williams, I do agree with you. I think he's at his absolute best. I think he's like pulling out all the comedic chops that like he has in this movie, like with the voices. And like one of my favorite parts is when like he's at like the kids party and like the rap music's playing, and it's in the beginning, I think, and he's got like his the hat like tipped to the corner or whatever, and he's like sup.
Yeah, he's like, what's up?
and then Sally Field, that's it. We're shutting down the party.
Yeah, and I was like, dang. And then at the end, like there's a moment where Sally Fields comes in after he's performing, like, or after he's shooting the kids show, and there's a scene with them, and it's like, oh my gosh, it makes you want to cry, his performance. And I think that it really is. I think it is one of his best, and it's a great freaking movie.
Yeah, very well said, Hunter. Yeah, I mean, my thoughts are, I think, pretty much the same as you guys. I mean, I am not in love with this movie. I think he is fantastic. I think Robin Williams is fantastic in the movie. He, just like what you guys are saying, like he makes you laugh and he makes you cry. Like that monologue at the end that he gives about like, if you take my kids away from me, it's like you're taking air away from me. It's like, oh, it's just like you feel it, like you feel it because of him. And let's talk about Robin Williams for a second, because like, you know, unfortunately he is not with us anymore, and that's a tragedy. And let's just talk about like, why does he work in almost every single thing he ever did? Like he really is like, just like one of the greatest. So let's touch on that for a second.
I think for me at least, Nick, the reason why he's been so iconic in all of the movies that he's done, he's been doing, or first of all, I think he's one of those actors that knows his type, knows what he's trying to go for, and when he chooses a project, or when he did choose these projects, he genuinely cared about them. And he wanted to like elevate the creative vision of the director while also putting his own creative twist on everything. I remember watching the behind the scenes footage of Aladdin and how all of these Disney writers and audio technicians were saying they had over, I think, 30 hours or so, or a couple of days worth of just improv, that he would come into the studio, he wouldn't even look at the script and would just go. And whatever came to the top of his mind.
Yeah, he has such an infectious energy to him. Like, it's so manic. Like, yeah, exactly what you were saying, Bailey. Like, he goes from here to here and this voice to that voice. It's just craziness. And it's that kind of energy and charisma that is rare. And
Yes.
and he has it. He had it. And yeah, it's just and it's so clear in this movie because he not only does he have multiple scenes where he's himself, his character, and then has to also be Doubtfire in the same scene, but also, you know, he has all these bits, you know, that you can tell like the camera was just kind of rolling, you know, for some of those bits, like that whole bit with him. What is it with the old lady in the beginning where he's like, I'm an actor, you know, like he does all these like voices, like no, he says I do voices, and she's like, what does that mean? What do you mean you do voices? And he's like, I do voices, and then he does all these voices, and it's just like you could tell like the cameraman was probably just like, just keep rolling until like he stops, because like it's just brilliant.
Yeah, or go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think scientists were able to prove it. They said something with his neurons. He was just able to respond and think of things so much faster than other actors of his class, which also, the man went to Juilliard. Need I say more?
Right, yeah.
Juilliard, they even said to him, we can't teach you this natural skill that you have. Just go out and audition for stuff, and best of luck. And also, another reason why I love Mrs. Doubtfire, my dad also loves it a lot, like me too, is Robin Williams, which I never knew this until, again, recently tragically, when he did pass away. My dad said to me, Bailey, did you know that he was roommates with Christopher Reeve at Juilliard? Yeah. And I said, oh my God, really? Like, he was, which again, Robin Williams roommates with Superman, the OG Superman.
We love to see it.
Yeah, that's amazing.
He just seems like Nick was saying before, not only on screen with his infectious energy and all of the improv and the tragic and comedic moments in all of these films, but another main reason why I feel people loved Robin Williams so much, he just came off as very genuine and relatable. Like, he didn't seem fake in any way. What you saw was what you got, and then some, because you didn't know if he was going to be on a talk show or if he was doing a play or something. What was going to happen? He might just go on the stage, like Nick was saying before, and just improv for an hour or so, and you just roll with the punches in that case.
Exactly. Like, yeah, I've heard like he used to do like comedy shows where like he would just like completely improvise the whole show for like an hour, and it's like new stuff like every time. Like, that's amazing.
Yeah, or go cheerlead for the Denver Broncos, I think it was. yeah. Like, and I was gonna get at that too. It's like, I think the reason that he's iconic in Robin Williams is that there is like truth to him, whereas like I couldn't think of another actor right now, but like actors that like are kind of like that, it's like, I don't know if they can truly like achieve what he did, because I think maybe they're trying to like fake something or like trying to be like him.
Yeah, it was just so authentically him, you know, like you can't mimic it. You can't, not really. So he was really one in a million, and I think like, you know, we'll get into it, but do I think it's like top echelon Robin Williams? In my opinion, I don't think so. For you guys, it could be, and that's great. We have a bunch of other Robin Williams movies we're going to cover too. So, you know, that's, you know, it'll be intriguing to go through some of those too and see, you know, if, especially me and you, Hunter, you know, if our opinion changes on certain things, because I think that's what I want the miniseries to do by the end. Like, you know, kind of be like, okay, like what was our, like, what were the gems, like the very best, and for Bailey, I think I'll say for you, like this is up there, right? For you?
Oh, it's if this was a tier maker list, S plus, not even S, S plus. And building off of Hunter's point earlier, like talking about how some of these other actors are trying to emulate him, which I do agree with that point. I think a lot of these comedic actors that I'm seeing that are slowly on the rise are trying to copy him, and it just isn't working for them. Which again, do what works for you. Don't copy someone, because then that doesn't make you unique. And another great point with Robin Williams too, and personally why I also really love him, or another reason why I love him, he gave back. He was one of those actors where, yes, I can't think off of the top of my head like what charities or organizations he donated to, but for our troops overseas, like for the military, he always did stand-up shows for them and all these like crazy kooky skits and voices. And it was just so incredible to see all of these soldiers and him talking, and he's just casually having a beer with them, like he was just like one of the guys, or just anybody chilling out. And again, like I was saying, that relatability, like you want to be able to see someone that shares your beliefs, or that you feel that you can see yourself represented in them. And for me, Robin Williams, like or for me at least with Robin Williams, I've always tried to strive with that. Since the podcast is called New York City Actors and we're talking about acting, I've always wanted, like, obviously, like, not improv too much. I feel, I mean, no one can be as quick as him, but
No, not even close. Yeah.
no one, like you said, Nick, he's one in a
one.
million.
Yeah.
But literally, no. I'm sorry. You can try your best, but you can't top the iconic goat of comedy, in my opinion, one of the goats. And for me, at least with acting, I always feel, again, give back, even if it's like, there's a famous quote. I don't know why that just made me think of this with Robin Williams. Maybe he was doing an interview with him or something. I don't know. But Christopher Lee, he was talking in an interview, and he was saying, it doesn't matter like how small the part is, just as long as your character has an impact on a story. He said that's what he looks for when reading a script, as long as my character has an impact and people remember me. And with Robin Williams, but even in these movies where, say, if he wasn't the leading role, you still remember him. I forgot he was in the movie Robots, and that was another one of my favorite animated movies.
His iconic role in Robots as that red robot. I forget his name. I forget his name now.
I forget his name.
I'm gonna look it up because I love robots.
But he was incredible in that too. And
I think it was Bender, but I want to be sure.
That sounds 98.
It sounds like a robot name, right? It sounds like a robot name.
Probably. But for me, at least, I've always wanted to try to emulate that warmth that Robin Williams has, and just try to, again, like make that connection with people in that sense. And just whenever I feel some actors too, they get stuck in a rut sometimes creatively, where they say, oh, I can only say this monologue or do this scene in this tone.
Okay, wait. Let me. Fender.
Bender.
They must have made a joke like that at one point in the movie. If not, we rewatch Robots.
That should be our next movie.
Mayhaps.
That'd be hilarious. Bailey, you're saying that that they get stuck in a tone?
Yes, I feel that some actors that I've worked with or I've seen, sometimes they'll say, I can say if it's this very, very dramatic scene, I can't let humor seep in, or I can't think of the scene in any other way. I have to perform it this way, which isn't necessarily the case. And I think with an actor like Robin Williams, he explored all of his possible options, where, like Nick was saying before, in the finals, which again, if you haven't seen Mrs. Doubtfire at this point, please do. But in the courtroom scene, please, dears, do yourself a service. I'll follow you on TikTok, deities. Anyway, when the final courtroom scene happens, Robin Williams, I'm sure he was told, like, make it a very serious scene and like maybe don't really stray too far off the path. But when he's talking, like, there's some moments like where he starts like kind of doing that nervous laugh, and like you see him smile. And then when he's talking about his kids, like Nick said that line before, if you take my kids away from me, it's like I can't have air. But he says it with a smile, and for me, it makes it even more tragic because you see it in his physicality too. He's hurting because he's saying, like, don't take my
Yeah,
kids
and
away
I
from
really
me.
want to point this out, and I think it kind of has to do with Robin Williams himself too in a lot of ways. There's a couple of lines in the movie, especially from Sally Field, telling him like, "You can never be serious." That's a I see that as a bit of a commentary on Robin. I think like, Robin probably had that insecurity of like, can I be serious? Can I do these dramatic roles too? Am I just the funny
Yeah.
guy? I think a lot of funny guy, Hollywood types probably have that same insecurity. So I thought that was a really, really specific, really important a part of the movie that I noticed. I was like, oh yeah, that's maybe something that Robin himself kind of is putting into his role and is relating to, because he kind of feels maybe from what I know, maybe that same kind of way.
No, I see that. And when you see a stereotypical comedic actor that people have said, all right, they can only do comedy, then all of a sudden they do this very dramatic movie or TV show, and you say, whoa, wait a second, you're supposed to make me laugh, not make me cry. And then some people will just tune out after that and say, oh, that's it, I'm done caring about this celebrity and I'll move on to the next one.
Right, and maybe Robin wanted to prove that to people with movies like Mrs. Doubtfire and Dead Poets and Good Will Hunting. Like,
Oh,
no,
another good one.
I can do this stuff too, guys. I feel like that kind of leaked into his performance in a good way, especially in this movie and some of his others, which we'll get into. But I think, yeah, as we get into more of his movies, Hunter, I think we'll keep seeing that kind of conflict within him.
Yeah, because he's one of those guys that you can't put him in a box no matter how hard you try.
And a lot of people probably did.
Yeah.
Oh, most definitely.
Yeah.
Most definitely.
So let's kind of redirect to his performance in Mrs. Doubtfire.
Of course, Dee.
Thank you, Mrs. Doubtfire. I'm so glad you're still here.
Oh,
But
Didi,
yeah.
I never left the studio. What are you talking about? Wait a sec. Didi, this doesn't look like the studio on 32nd Street. I'm confused. This looks like an abandoned old apartment. It looks burned down, Didi. I need to get out of here.
Thank
I'm
you,
gonna
Mrs.
I'm gonna freeze in
Doubtfire.
the cold.
Your commentary on your own apartment is delightful.
Oh,
It's
Didi, what I
amazing.
would do for a Klondike bar right now. So cold.
I can guess. I can guess. But yeah, so his performance specifically in Mrs. Doubtfire. Let's talk about that for a bit.
Yeah. Bailey, you know what? How do you think? Or actually, Nick, I want to start with you. Actually, because you said that you didn't think that it ranked up in the performances with other movies. Is there a reason why, or you don't have to have a reason why?
Yeah, I mean, like, I a little bit of both. Like, I can't really explain it because I just think I prefer some of his other performances, but also like I think like maybe the movie doesn't always, in my opinion, doesn't always do right by him. Where like I think when it comes to like the movie itself, I think it's every time I've watched it, I like it maybe a little bit less every time, just because like I don't know, like looking back at like maybe some of the jokes and some of the things that some parts in the movie in today's climate, like there's a few like iffy jokes about like, hey, you're dressed up as a woman, isn't that crazy? Like, it's like, would we do that today? No. Is it the movie's fault? Not necessarily, because it's of its time, but it makes it a little bit less enjoyable. But it's not like constant, you know what I mean? It wasn't like every joke was like, whoa, isn't that crazy? Like the funny part was Robin Williams as Mrs. Doubtfire, like you know what I mean? But there were a few inklings of jokes here and there that are a little dated now, but that once again, it's hard to say, if that's the movie's fault or not, but it's there if you're looking for it. So yeah, but more about the movie also. Yeah, I just think like there's some really funny bits in it, and we'll keep talking about those in a minute. But like, you know, I think some of the bits, especially near the end, with the whole like, oh, he's he's doing two things at once. He has the job interview, and he also has the family dinner, and it's like, I get it. You have to do that. He's playing two people. It's funny to do two things at once because that's, you know, that's the premise. So you got to do it. But it's such a contrived way, in my opinion, to do it because, like, the family's just like, come on, join us for dinner. And it's like, really? Like, you're going to fuck up your job interview because they said pretty please? Like, it's a bit contrived to have,
I like that part, though.
Look, it's cute. Like, you know, these are, like, you know, nitpicks. But, like, it's just, like, you could have found a better way to, like, have that kind of crazy comedic situation. Because it seemed a bit contrived to me, if I'm being honest.
Yeah. One thing I will say in defense of that scene, I do see your points, Nick. I do agree how it can be a little bit contrived, and earlier saying how some of the jokes they wouldn't land today, or they probably wouldn't have even happened like in the writing process. One thing I will say, in 1993, this was a very ambitious movie.
Oh yeah, I mean, like, we have Harvey Fierstein in the movie, like, killing it, like, being, you know, fabulous and hilarious. Like, it's a very, like, progressive movie, if all, you know, especially for the time. You know, it was just like little things that I picked up on that was like, yeah, they wouldn't quite fly, but once again, it's like little things, you know.
Yeah,
I was just gonna say, if it wasn't for the dinner scene where he is both himself, Daniel, and Mrs. Doubtfire, you wouldn't have the iconic line when he's drunk off of the wine and his denture fall into the wine glass, which was improvised, by the way.
Oh,
Robin
really?
Williams saying "Carpe dentum" seize the teeth. That was improvised, and they couldn't keep it together on set. And they said cut, but that is too brilliant. Like, we have to do that again.
That's amazing. That's a hilarious line. So that to know that was improvised is. It just goes to show how amazing Robin was.
Shaking it off like a wet dog, and like the denture, the wine.
That's true. He says so many things during that one.
It's getting stuck there because he's trying to get Pierce Brosnan to look obviously crappy, and like he's intentionally throwing the wine on him.
Yeah,
also,
that's so funny. He's just like
quickly. Also thinking about that scene, the amount that in real life. That obviously not Robin Williams, like during the actual shoot, I'm sure it was like apple juice or something else. But in real life, drinking that much wine, I think he had or Mrs. Doubtfire rather, had 2 or 3 glasses of what looked like white wine, and then 4 scotch or 5 scotch on the rocks on top of that.
Forget it. He's dead. He's dead.
The alcohol content he would not be able to handle.
Yeah, Mrs. Doubtfire would not handle that much liquor.
I was just about to bring that up about how while watching it as a kid and watching it now, I was like, I had no idea he was getting absolutely wasted because like. You probably would in that situation. You're probably stressed out as hell, and you just keep pounding him. And like when he falls down on the chair, or like forgets which table he's at and like who he is like the best.
After that when he's dressed up as Mrs. Doubtfire and starts speaking to the studio executive as himself, so my God, after that 3rd scotch, I had to piss like a racehorse. And Daniel, yeah, why in God's name are you dressed like a woman?
A woman.
And then again,
wah, wah.
And then Robin Williams' facial expression there of just the oh shit. Oh wait, I can curse. I can curse on this.
Yeah, you can fucking curse.
But him that look of oh shit. The jig is up. I gotta tell him who I am. And
no, but then he doesn't. But that's the great thing. Then he's like, "Oh, this. Say hello to your new host."
Well, you're looking at the host of your new show,
dude, and he buys it. He's like,
yeah, he's like brilliant.
He's like, hell yeah. What are you talking about?
If that was 2021 and it was some studio executive, let's say at Disney or whatever media company comes to your mind, that conversation would not have happened. The second they heard that voice, they might have said, security, can we get this person out of here?
That's true. In real life, the guy would be like, I never want to see you
I
again.
know. I have a restraining order against you. You cannot be within 6 feet of me.
And that's kind of an interesting thing about the movie is there's a fine line between Robin's his character's antics in the movie, because I think, like, especially by the end, it makes you question, like, oh, how, like, okay is this? Like,
Yeah.
is him, like, being so wacky for the kids and doing all these crazy situations? Because I really like, and I wish they explored it maybe a bit more, but I really liked how Sally Field was like, you know, I don't like myself when I'm with you, or when, you know, when I'm married to you, because I have to be the bad guy. I have to be the no fun police or something like that, where, like, I have to shut down the fun, but also, like, his fun is also, yeah, a bit dangerous and a bit too far. And, like, I like how the movie kind of comments on that. You know, I wish maybe the movie commented on that maybe a little more, but I did like that kind of, like, yeah, but it is a little too crazy for reality. Like, it's a bit too much. Like, it is kind of too far.
Well, even in the courtroom scene, the judge says, this is, like, yes, you want to be with your kids, but going to this length of dressing up in drag, pretending to be an old nanny just to be with your kids. I think the doctor even says at one point, insanity.
Yeah, like, yeah, and he even says it too, like, I plead insanity, because, yeah, like, yeah, it's like,
I love my
It
kids.
is really crazy, but also, yeah, but then he says, but I love my kids, and so, like, you know, the Robin charm of it all is like, oh, you know, like, so you do get it because he said that, but yeah, I do like how the movie kind of addresses that, and like, and by the end, the judge kind of says something like, look, that was a moving speech, but I kind of just I kind of just see that as a performance, a really convincing a really convincing performance, but a performance. And I found that line to be really poignant.
Yeah. So do you guys think that, like, he went too far by dressing up as Mrs. Doubtfire?
I like how we've gotten so serious now. So has he?
Oh, no.
Did he go too far?
Well, I think that's an interesting question.
No, it is an interesting thought. It's just funny that we're talking about this, and it's like, it's Mrs. Doubtfire. But yes, but I do think, yeah, it was a bit too far. But you know, I think in my opinion, at least, in a slightly better movie, we'd kind of maybe address that, like, a tad bit more. I think, like, you know, we kind of just write it off a little bit too much, like, well, but it's Robin Williams, he's so funny. Like we kind of write it off a bit, which is fine. It's not. I mean, it is a pretty dark movie, but it's not like it's not Good Will Hunting. You know what I mean?
Oh,
it's not Dead Poet Society, where reality just slaps you in the face by the end. But a little bit of reality does kind of creep in, which is what I like about the movie. And I think the discussions or the conversations Robin Williams has with Sally Field, especially near the end, I thought was really nice. And I think like, the stuff with the kids is great, but if not the whole movie, but if, like, more of the movie was kind of like, oh, like, I get to pretend to be this person now, like, not myself, and now I get to hear what my wife really thinks about me. And I think that's such an interesting idea, to be, like, almost an outsider, even though you're still yourself, obviously, like, to be like,
yes.
So how does she really feel? And, like, for him to kind of learn that, I think is really, really great. I wish, once again, I think my big criticism is just more, just because, like the, you know, this movie wants to be like a silly comedy, but also tries to be dramatic and serious, and I think a lot of it works, but I think as a whole, I think it kind of goes back and forth, and I think, like, you know, and it's not Robin Williams' fault. I think he does a fantastic job in the movie. He's clearly, if we were doing a regular show, he would clearly be the MVP. But I think that's going to be every movie we cover. Like, every Robin Williams movie we cover.
It was him all along.
Sorry, Pierce Brosnan, dude.
Yeah.
That chiseled jawline.
Or actually, the kid that plays his son from Boy Meets World.
Oh, my Lord.
MVP.
MVP. No, the little girl, Matilda. What's her name?
I don't know her name, but she's all like, You had to go, Mrs. Doubtfire. Or something like that.
Yeah, yeah. Oh my God,
Don't
she's
go, Mrs.
adorable.
Doubtfire.
You
Don't go,
have to
Mrs. Doubtfire.
Yeah, don't go, Mrs. Doubtfire.
Yeah, don't. Why are mommy and daddy fighting?
One thing I will say to rebuke Nick's point just a little.
Yeah,
bit,
go ahead.
again,
Come at
I
me,
agree.
bro.
But
Really
I
rip
do.
into
I
him.
agree
Rip into
with
me,
you,
baby.
man. I agree with you, but like I have something else to say, dude. But like my opinion's better than your. No, I'm kidding.
All right.
This is a bully-free zone, anyway. With that point, there are a lot of moments where you do see. Obviously, it's Mrs. Doubtfire talking to again. I forget Daniel and I forget the wife's name.
I don't remember. Mr. Doubtfire. Mr. Doubtfire.
Mr. Doubtfire, of course. How could I forget? But when they're both talking, and when Mrs. Doubtfire is saying, "Oh, like how was Daniel? What was your relationship like?" and you see Sally Field opening up to again the stranger, or not stranger necessarily, because they again have grown that bond with Mrs. Doubtfire, but for Daniel to sit there and hear all of these deeper thoughts from his ex-wife about why it just didn't work, like Nick was saying before, of yeah, I always felt that when we were together that I was the bad guy, or like I was the bad guy and I had to police my children, I never had time for them. And you just, even through the prosthetics, you could see that tears were starting to swell in his eyes, because he was saying, oh my God, like this is stuff that I've been wanting to hear from her, but he could never hear from her, because obviously when the split happened,
because also it plays into because I was never serious, I was never real with this person, and so
exactly.
once again very poignant stuff. And I think what brings this movie home to me, I have obviously issues with the movie, but what really like almost the moment that almost makes me forget all of that is that last scene where Mrs. Doubtfire has that monologue at the end, during her show, where she has in her show she has a letter from a kid that says like, oh, my mom and dad split up, and I'm gonna start crying already because it's so good. But like that, like, and her speech about like, it's not your fault. They maybe they stopped loving each other, but they still love you. And not a lot of movies, especially silly, comedies like this, don't really have like profound and kind of real messages about divorce, because usually divorce is either written off as either not real or it's just kind of brushed aside as like, it happened, haha, and you just kind of whatever, you kind of move on. But like, or it's a very like one note thing where it's like, oh, they're just bickering and they hate each other. It's that kind of thing too. It's never like in the gray area, because I think that's the biggest strength of the movie from like a writing and character perspective, of just like the theme of divorce, and like and having it be it's not talking down to kids who are who are and still are watching this movie. It's being real with them. He even says in the movie, Robin Williams, he says like something about like, can we not talk down the kids? Can we like just be on their level, like, and be real with them and say like, real stuff happens sometimes, and we'll just talk to you about it. And I think that was the biggest strength. And once again, the ending speech is like the best part. It gets me weepy every time.
And he said, you got to treat them like little people. He said, you can't, like Nick was just saying that line, you can't talk down to them. And another reason, also building off of Nick's points from earlier, I think it's a strength that they also show the kids' perspective, because there are a lot of movies and shows where I've seen the writers talk about divorce, and you don't see it from the kids' perspective. You only really see it from the adult's point of view of, oh, like we fell out of love, and like all these, sometimes it can be a little bit drawn out. But in Mrs. Doubtfire, like I was saying at the very, very beginning, it's very realistic. Yes, sometimes it can be ugly, but it's not too overdone. It's just, look, in the final scene, Mrs. Doubtfire says, sometimes people fall out of love, but that doesn't mean that they don't love you, dear. And sure, again, all families look different. Some people can have two mummies, two daddies, or just one mom, one dad. And it's a beautiful, it's a beautiful, heartwarming message.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
And one movie, I feel this is a little bit of a sidebar off topic.
Yeah.
That's a little bit to the extreme when dealing with divorce is Marriage Story.
I was literally going to say.
Don't get me started.
The thing is, Adam Driver, quick little sidebar. Adam Driver and Scarlett Johansson, incredible, brilliant actors. But you know what I'm talking about. That scene, come on. But that was, I thought it was just, I'm an actor yelling at another actor trying to get an Oscar nomination.
Okay. I'll rebuttal that a little bit because I do see where you're coming from. People, and we actually talked about this when we talked about what was the third Before trilogy movie called, Hunter?
Before Midnight.
Before Midnight. Like, I was kind of saying the same thing about that movie. Like, it was a little too harsh, a little too mean-spirited.
You shut your mouth.
You naughty.
But I kind of feel the same way about that fight scene in Marriage Story. I think it's a better handled, I think, than Before Midnight, in my opinion. But I do see your point. Like, yeah, like these people saying like this kind of stuff to each other, they would just never talk to each other again. Like it's just so harsh and so like it goes so far that like it's almost a little much. I do like that movie though, and I do like Adam Driver and Scarlett Johansson, but I do see your point because I kind of get that too. I'm not in love with that movie like everyone else is, but yeah, I do agree about that scene.
Yeah, see, and I'm the happy medium right here. See, I think that way about Scarlett Johansson in that movie. I'm like, oh, I really think that, and I like her. I think she's a wonderful actress. But I think in that movie, she's just like terrible. And
you think she's terrible?
I do.
And you're the happy medium?
I'm the happy medium because I think Adam Driver in that movie is fucking great.
Yeah, he's fucking fantastic. I mean, I will agree with you that he is better than Scarlett Johansson in that movie. But I do think Scarlett Johansson is good in the movie. Like I think she has some good stuff.
I don't 0% actually.
I will say though that like it does show more of his side than hers. Yeah, so I think it might have to do more with like there's not enough scenes with her. Like she gets a lot of scenes in the beginning. Like she has that long monologue where she's like tearing up with crying with Laura Dern, but then we don't really see her side after that. After those scenes, like we kind of just see more of Adam Driver and like him hanging out with her and the kid and everything. But this is a Marriage Story review now.
I know.
This just got me thinking during this little tangent that we just had. If you really think about it with Mrs. Doubtfire, you see Daniel at work as a voice actor, which again, the opening scene too, Robin Williams doing those voices for the bird. He's like, "Oh no, the cigarette is killing me. I can't."
Oh, and the animation I want to shout out is I'm 95% sure is animated by Chuck Jones, who did the old Looney Tunes cartoons. So that's why that's why the animation kind of looks like those old.
That's so incredible.
Yeah,
but you see Daniel doing his craft as a voice actor. We only get one scene with Sally Field in her profession, which just dawned on me. And the only scene that's there for her is when she meets James Bond himself, Pierce Brosnan.
And also let me just mention this once. I like him in the movie, and I like that he's not like a total asshole, because every other comedy movie just makes the other guy like just such a dick that like you totally want the our main character to like get back with his girl because the other guy is such a dick. Besides like one line about him saying like, "Oh, the guy's a loser," like he's not really that mean.
No,
he's
not really.
Actually quite nice.
He's actually a pretty nice guy.
Because he says,
"I'd have a beer with him."
Because he has by the pool. Oh, it was a drive-by fruiting. But there's a line that Pierce Brosnan is speaking with one of his coworkers, and he says, "Oh, like you were never the type to settle down," like a stereotypical business guy, like you were never the type to settle down with kids. And he said, "But I'm just so crazy about them, especially that little one." I said, "There you go." I said, "You're not like Nick said, you're not making him a dick. You're making him relatable. Of look, I like this woman. Sure, she's going through a tough time right now, but I want to be there for her and I want to support the family. Which that I get it, but that makes total sense.
Yeah, it makes total sense to me.
Me too.
Yo, I stan him.
You know what? Fuck Robin Williams in this movie.
Excuse me, Hunter.
Nothing.
Excuse
Hey,
you?
whoa. That's a very hot take.
Hot
But
take.
Speaking of hot takes, Mrs. Daniel trying to kill Pierce Brosnan's character with the spicy pepper.
Yeah,
Oh, that's right. Oh my god. Yeah, wait.
so
Can we talk about that for a second? So
That's a
yeah,
questionable motive.
Robin Williams tries to kill him.
That's a questionable that's the more questionable motive. He literally tried to. At first, he removes the not the hubcap, but the logo from his Honda or whatever fancy car it is. I said, okay, I get that. Basically poisoning him with pepper. That's a little extreme. I mean, it's a funny line which again, going back to the realism, Mrs. Doubtfire, you just see some old lady walking through.
I know.
And she just is putting down the pepper. Ha jambalaya!
Ha jambalaya!
Which that's my favorite line in the movie.
Yo, he has so many disguises in the movie. Like, not only is he Mrs. Doubtfire, but yeah, he's like she dresses up as like a waitress and like, yeah, I'm jambalaya and stuff like that.
And then he also just as himself, Robin Williams, and as Daniel, when he's wiping down the set after the crews leave with that dinosaur show, and the executive, you hear him say, "Oh, like that guy was so boring." Then he quickly like pretends to be a janitor to like watch the actual show, and then when he has that cool little improv of like, I'm a T-Rex, I'm the king of the dinosaurs, watch out for my claws, I can bite you really hard, and it's so good. Like he's
and at the end of that scene, he says like to the toy dinosaurs, like, take 5 million, you're dead.
That's one of my favorite scenes where he's like, I'm a raptor, and he's like, I'll be back, but I'm coming as oil.
It's just so good.
Yeah, and throughout the movie, like he's sprinkling in his own, views of life. Because yeah, like we were talking before about like talking down the kids and everything, and yeah, and also like the oil stuff about oil, and just like Robin Williams, like you can tell, and I think as we'll get into this miniseries, like his real self kind of creeps through all of these characters, and that's what's so interesting about him as a performer.
Yes.
Yeah.
And this was a point made much, much earlier on when Nick was saying that he wishes that there was more of a lot of these more intimate scenes between Daniel and his wife, or his kids as well. And the movie, you do have a lot of those moments. No, Rebecca, that's her name. I am so silly. Her name is Rebecca.
Oh, Sally Field's character?
Yeah.
Yes. Is that her name?
I don't know. I'm gonna look it up. I'll look it up.
Yeah.
A quick check to see. I think it's Rebecca. I'm surprised that we've been saying it for so long. We're just referring to her as his wife.
Hey, I don't even really remember Robin Williams' character's name besides Mrs. Doubtfire, obviously.
The one and only.
The one and only Mrs. Doubtfire.
That's what happens when you get like
Miranda. It's
Miranda.
Sally Field's character is Miranda.
But the scenes before with him and Miranda, like Nick was saying, or him having more intimate moments with Miranda or his kids, and like I was saying also earlier, with those scenes with the kids, I would maybe, if there was just another scene with the two older children, because they're the ones that discover that he's Mrs. Doubtfire, which that I forgot about too.
Right, you forget about it because they don't really do anything with that.
Because it happens and they go, "Oh, your dad. Oh my God!" And he says, "Listen, don't tell your mom. Like I just want to." And he doesn't really have which it makes sense because he can't really quickly explain it all in one sitting of, okay, so I'm doing this because I want to see you and it's difficult and all that. But he says, look, just don't tell your mom and don't tell your little sister.
Right.
So when that moment happens later on, when he, saves Pierce Brosnan from almost choking on the shrimp, which by the way, Pierce Brosnan, I did find out he didn't have a piece of shrimp in his throat at all. He just was that was him acting like he was choking, which I thought that was very, very convincing.
He can choke my shrimp any day.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Nick, if you want to tell us something, it
Yeah,
is
you
okay.
get something off your
You have
chest.
a crush on Pierce Brosnan.
You're like,
Pierce
"That's not
Brosnan.
Pierce Brosnan, man."
Pierce
Hey,
Brosnan
I
can-
said what I said.
Pierce Brosnan can whip up this cup of cocoa any day.
You know,
And again, another great line when he turns around and Miranda says, "Like, help, Mrs. Doubtfire, he's choking." And he says, "My God, I killed the bastard." Then,
yeah, I know.
"Help is on the way! Help is on the way, dear!" And like, he's running, jumping over the columns like an NFL linebacker, like, just pushing through everybody.
Yeah. Oh, wait, can we talk about the iconic scene where he has all those disguises near the beginning of the movie, where he's like, what's her? Rain on my parade.
Barbara Streisand.
Barbara Streisand.
And he's doing all of those characters, like trying out the different wigs and stuff. And it's so funny because that moment is a little bit meta because he's breaking the fourth wall, and you're saying,
Essentially.
interesting. Like,
Yeah,
very-
essentially he is. Yeah.
and that's the only moment where the movie does that. Only moment where you say, "Oh, okay." But,
Yeah. Robin Williams was like, "It's my time."
but it
Here we
works.
go.
Also, lest we forget
I got 5 minutes, okay? Just 5.
My
Let me
lord.
do my thing.
Also, lest we forget the iconic cleaning sequence of the house where they're playing Aerosmith's "Dude Looks Like a Lady."
Dude looks like a lady.
That song aged like a fine gallon of milk.
Yeah. That song, I had no idea.
Oh no.
But when I found out the reason why Steven Tyler wrote that song, and the simple reason was, yeah, I saw this girl that I thought was a girl at a bar, and I said, "Oh, like that's not a girl, that's some other rock singer at the time." And he literally just looked and went, "Ah, dude looks like a lady." And that's how the song was born. I am not
Someone write
No
that down. I'm
joke.
gonna write that down real quick. Just a
literally no joke, Hunter. That's how it happened.
Bro,
At a bar.
second. Imagine like he sings it at the bar, like looks directly at the woman, like, "Dude looks like a lady."
and that guy was probably like, yeah.
This slaps. Dude, this slaps. You gotta put it on the radio waves.
Gotta put it on the record, man.
You have to.
Yeah. What else? What else can we say?
I have
about
a
this
question for you two.
movie? Yeah.
As Mrs. Doubtfire was saying earlier in this interview or this podcast when she
That's right. Where is
crashed
she?
it,
Where is she, by the way?
she's actually in the shower right now. So she found a Airbnb up here. Like she's gonna come over tomorrow to help me tidy up my room a little bit. It's been a little bit messy. as you can
Oh
see.
yeah,
Okay.
that makes
But-
sense.
My question for you two: once live theater, musical theater, plays, and all that Broadway.
I'm
when it
sorry.
comes
What?
back-
Live.
live
Live what? Live
Theater?
theater?
plays
What's-
and musicals.
Theater.
Mrs.
Uh,
Doubtfire was supposed to open.
That's
but
right. That
because-
musical was supposed to come out like literally
This
like
summer.
the almost the week before after COVID hit.
or they were supposed to go into previews, but
Right, the
they-
previews. Yes.
they, obviously, with COVID still going on,
Yeah.
I thought it would be best. I said, you know what? Let me join the Facebook group, and I think they're called the Pulpit. No, they're called the Pulpits, and I'm a proud pulpit, and I absolutely love that page and adore it. My question for you two is: all of the stuff that happens in the movie, especially something like the last dinner scene, how do you think they're going to pull it off in the musical? And are you excited to see Mrs. Doubtfire the musical?
I'm intrigued. I don't know. I just don't know if it's going to be great or not. But I feel like it'll probably be fun, and I think like it'll be hard to do it without Robin. But because I think he was the reason the movie is as good as it is. But I do like who's the guy who's Rob
the guy
something.
that was in Beetlejuice, right?
Yeah, what's his name? Rob something.
I forget. I forget.
Okay, I'll look him up while you guys talk.
But-
Yeah, I am excited. I want it to be good. And speaking of Beetlejuice, I had the same reservations about Beetlejuice because the movie's iconic and awesome, and I was like, I wonder how they're gonna do it on the stage.
Okay, I got his name.
What's his name?
Rob McClure.
Rob,
He was in a bunch of shows.
yeah,
Or he used to, not anymore. He's not in shows anymore.
Yeah.
But but he's a Broadway guy.
Yeah, but before I saw Beetlejuice, I was like, the movie's iconic. I wonder how they're gonna do it on the stage and if it's gonna be any good. And when I went to go see that musical, I was greatly surprised and I really liked it.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I think it's better than like, a lot of other movie turned musicals. But
Yeah.
I did think the second act was a bit lacking compared to the first act.
Yeah, definitely.
Just because
but
this is another tangent, but I'll make it quick. But they kind of not humanize, I guess, but they kind of like they kind of make Beetlejuice a tad more like likable or a little more like, oh, but it's Beetlejuice. I know he tried to kill everyone and tried to marry an underage girl, but like, look, like he's funny.
Yeah, I know. I was about to say, oh, they made him more Disney.
Yeah, it's like it's kind of like, actually, it's funny. It's a little bit like Mrs. Doubtfire, where it's like Mrs. Doubtfire is doing Mrs. Doubtfire. Robin Williams' character, does all these things, and by the end, it's like, but it's Robin. He's so funny.
Yeah,
It's not that he tried to kill somebody with pepper.
No, I mean, like, look, let me get this. Let me set it straight. Like, not as problematic as Beetlejuice. He's a problematic king.
Yes.
But saying that, I hope for the best, and I think that it will be good because I mean I know Broadway they come out with like some bad shows.
No, I'm sure it'll be good.
Yeah, but I do trust. I think that they wouldn't have made it this far if it wasn't something that was at least halfway decent.
And
we'll see. We'll see. I mean, like I mean, a lot of hard work has gone into other shows, and sometimes they don't work out. So we'll see. But I am looking forward to seeing that one.
Because one thing that was running through my head is there are a lot of shows or musicals on Broadway that are family oriented, and what better show to bring an audience back, especially families, that they want a very humorous, lighthearted, funny story like Mrs. Doubtfire. And I think just that pitch or that log line alone is enough for me, at least, to get me back. Again, I'll wear 5 masks, a face shield, a hazmat suit. I don't care what I have to do.
I'll put a mask anywhere.
Literally put 2 on my butt cheeks or like covering.
I'll do it. I want to see Mrs. Doubtfire. I will do it.
Anything for the craft. But
anything for Mrs. Doubtfire.
Praying.
Oh, wait a minute. Is that Mrs. Doubtfire coming out of the shower?
Out of the shower?
Actually, yeah, I think it would. Hey, Euphigenia.
Yes, dear.
Are you gonna come back in soon?
Wait, hold on 1 second, dearie. I just need to get my robe on for a second. Give me a bit, dearie.
Okay, she's just putting on her robe.
Yeah, Mrs. Doubtfire. Okay, I'm sorry.
She doesn't have to take her medicine, right? She doesn't have to take her medicine.
She's on some pills a little bit.
Okay, because I was about to say I know she can't take it orally, and it takes her some time.
I know this is maybe a little weird to say, but dude, she's so hot.
I'll relay that information to her, see what she says.
Look, I just think she's a fun woman.
She's on Ember, actually. It's Tinder, but for elderly people, because the flame, it's not.
Okay, that's good to know. That's good to know. I'm writing that down. Could you say it one more time?
She's on Ember.
Ember, got it.
Like
got
little flames.
Anyway, so I think to wrap up our Mrs. Doubtfire discussion, just final thoughts.
Mrs. Doubtfire, without a doubt, is still, till the day I die, going to be the greatest piece of media that I have ever laid my eyes upon. It has humor, it has heart, it is very genuine. All of the performances are amazing. There is not one weak link in this movie. Robin Williams, I do agree with Nick. It's one of his best. Is it the best? I don't know. I'll have to rewatch some of his other movies or think back to other performances. But he brings it. He always delivers.
Definitely.
With this movie in particular, it'll make you laugh, it'll make you cry, and Robin Williams truly is irreplaceable, in my opinion, and is a comedic genius and icon that will live on forever in the hearts and memories of many people like myself.
All right, Hunter, try to top that.
I don't want to. I don't
Hunter said, I agree.
I agree wholeheartedly.
Oh, and if you had to give it a rating out of 10, Bailey, I assume you would give it a
11 out of 10.
11? I think that's our first 11 out of 10.
I'm going to say an 11
Has nobody said 11 yet?
I don't think so.
That's like Robin Williams.
Gentlemen, I have broken the mold. I have changed the system. out of not even a scale of 10, Nick. I'm going to switch it up on YouTube. On a scale of
where are you going with this, Bailey?
Hello, my dearies, to hello, my puppets.
This movie is definitely a jambalaya.
Perfect. Now try to top that.
It's pretty good, I guess. No, yeah, I agree with Bailey.
So what's your rating?
No,
I just agree.
I'd have to give it.
Look inside your heart. You know the answer.
You know the truth.
You know the truth, puppet.
I'm gonna have to give it. 9. Yeah, 9. 9 out of 10.
Okay, good.
I got it. It was worth the wait, wasn't it, gentlemen?
Oh yeah, it's totally worth it. So, yes, I think it has some really strong moments. It's really fun. I just wish there was more. I wish they went deeper. I wish it was a little cleaner, a little less contrived. But I do think like it's cinema and it's fun, and Robin Williams is great. Is it? I definitely don't think it'll be up there with the very best of Robin Williams for me when we are done with this Robin Williams miniseries. But I do think it's great, and it's the best part of the movie, and he's fantastic, and this movie just goes to show why he's so good and why he's a legend, and he'll be missed. And I can't wait to talk more about Robin Williams as we continue on this treacherous miniseries, dearie. So I give it, sorry, pause for dramatic effect, 7 out of 10.
Again, I respect that.
I respect it. A nice crisp 7 out of 10. I like it.
A nice wrinkly, baggy old 7.
Baggy old.
Well, that's very descriptive.
Hey,
What did he say about me, dearie?
Oh, Euphigenia. Sorry, I didn't. Wait, come on.
No, Mrs. Doubtfire, I'm sorry. I didn't.
Hello, puppets. Sorry, dude. I was just telling Bailey that I was getting out of the shower. I was like a wet old dog for a second there, like an Irish setter. I had to get all the hairs clean.
Yeah, Mrs. Doubtfire, I didn't mean that. I actually, what I meant was a 12 out of 10.
Oh, puppet! I didn't even hear because I didn't have the headphones on.
Oh, okay.
They're on now, though.
Okay.
Nick,
They're on now, though.
But did we have fun, dearies?
Yes, we had fun.
So much fun, Mrs. Doubtfire.
Yeah, Mrs. Doubtfire. We had so much fun talking about your movie with you and talking about Robin Williams. And
Oh, stop it! You're gonna make me blush.
You're gonna make me blush, Mrs.
Oh,
Doubtfire.
dearie, you know where to find me on Ember.
Whoa.
I like you. I like her. I like her a lot.
Like I
Okay.
said, I'm a hippo granny who can hip hop and practice the horizontal mambo. Little Humpty Dumpty. I've got a power tool in my bedside drawer, dear, and I'm surprised it hasn't chipped my teeth.
Euphegenia, I think you need to.
Well, Bailey, what is it? What do you say to these fine esteemed gentlemen?
Nick and Hunter, it has been so much fun being here, and I'm so glad that I was able to talk to you two about my profound love for Mrs. Doubtfire.
Yes, dear, of course you would.
Enough, Euphegenia, relax. And
yeah,
don't
please,
ruin-
Mrs.
don't ruin this.
Doubtfire.
Don't ruin this moment,
Bailey's
please.
talking.
Please.
We've had enough, Mrs. Doubtfire.
And
Yeah, bye.
it has been an absolute pleasure chatting with you two gents.
Bailey, it is always so special to talk to you, to listen to you, and it's just always such an absolute pleasure. I love you so much. Thank you so much for being
Love
on
you
the
too,
show.
Yeah, Bailey, I just met you today. But
And this is crazy.
but it feels like I've known you for like
A
day.
couple of minutes.
Yeah.
A couple an hour.
No, but
Exactly.
it really does. I really enjoyed having you on the show. All your thoughts on this movie were profound, and some of them I had not thought of before, and you were the absolute perfect guest to kick off this miniseries.
Yes,
Thank you.
absolutely, absolutely.
And make sure, dearies, how'd you get
Mrs.
back in?
Doubtfire, why'd you come back?
There is one thing Bailey forgot to say, dearies, that I'm going to say very quickly. Make sure that you subscribe to New York City Actors Talk Film on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast, dearie. I'm sure you could get it on Instagram or Facebook. I'm not hip and down with the social media nowadays, but I'm sure Nick and Hunter can explain it better than I can.
Yeah, thank you, Mrs. Doubtfire. Yeah, you can check us out at NYC Actors Talk Film. We are, as Mrs. Doubtfire explained, we are on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and everywhere you listen to podcasts. Please leave us a review on iTunes and give us 5 stars. That really helps us out. We also have a YouTube channel, NYC Actors Talk Film. It's also called that. Check out our website. Just search NYC Actors Talk Film. You can find Bailey Wilkinson at Bailey_Wilks on Instagram. Join us next week in our Robin Williams series when we'll talk Hook. Stay tuned, me hearties. Thank you all for listening. Take care.
Bye-bye, puppets.
Bye, dearie.
Hello! Hello!